He had one secret left, a hidden smuggler's pass through the canyons. His only escape route from the bounty hunters who wanted his own head. But when the corrupt Federales dragged a farmer and his daughter into the plaza, he gave that secret away. He didn't know he'd just sacrificed his own freedom to save two strangers, trapping himself in a town that was about to become a war zone. Jonah Cole wasn't a good man. He'd spent a decade as a bounty hunter, a life that paid in blood, and left him with nothing but a price on his own head. He was hiding in the border town of Tres Cruces, a dusty purgatory where laws were suggestions and survival was a daily negotiation. He had one plan: wait for the next supply wagon, take it to the canyon, and use the secret pass his old partner had died to show him. It was the one way north the law, and his enemies didn't know about. One more day, and he'd be a ghost. The town was quiet, suffocating under the afternoon sun. Jonah was cleaning his repeater in the shade of the cantina porch, invisible, watching. That's when they arrived. Not bounty hunters. Worse, Federales. 6 of them, their green uniforms coated in dust, their faces hard and arrogant. They were led by Capitán de Vargas, a man who ruled the border with a silver-plated pistol and a total absence of mercy. They weren't alone. They were dragging 2 locals. Mateo, a small-time farmer Jonah had seen in the market, and his daughter Elena. She couldn't have been more than 12. They were bound, their hands tied. De Vargas hauled them into the center of the plaza. "This is what happens to thieves," he shouted to the shuttered windows. This hombre and his spawn were caught diverting water, stealing from the government. Jonah knew it was a lie. De Vargas was clearing the land for a rich landowner in the capital. This was a land grab, plain and simple. Mateo, his face bruised, spat dust. "You are the thief, Capitán. That land is ours." De Vargas backhanded him across the face, sending him to his knees. The girl, Elena, screamed and ran to her father. De Vargas, annoyed, shoved her. She fell hard, her head striking the hard-packed earth. Jonah froze. He'd seen men killed. He'd done the killing. It was business. But the sight of the child falling, the cold, casual cruelty of it, it snagged on something deep inside him, something he thought was long dead. He looked at the canyon pass in his mind. His freedom. It was right there. All he had to do was nothing. Stay in the shadows. Let this happen. De Vargas laughed and unholstered his pistol. "A lesson, Pueblo. For the father, the bullet for the girl. She will come with us. She can work for the soldiers." A cold, sick dread filled the plaza. This wasn't an execution. It was something far worse. Jonah Cole had one day left, one secret pass, his only way out. He let out a slow breath, and he made his choice. He stepped out from the shadows, his repeater held loose at his side. "Capitán," Jonah said, his voice calm, carrying across the plaza. De Vargas turned, surprised. He didn't know Jonah. "Who are you to interrupt me, gringo?" "Just a man who doesn't like to see his drinking interrupted," Jonah said. He gestured to the cantina. "Let them go, I'll pay you. They're fine. $100, American." De Vargas's eyes narrowed. $100? He smiled. This gringo values these indios highly. He looked at his men. He must have a reason. Search him. 2 soldiers advanced. Jonah knew this was the end of his quiet plan. His escape, his future, it was gone. "All right," Jonah said, raising his hand slightly. "But my money, it's in my saddlebag, on my horse, by the saloon." It was a lie. The 2 soldiers turned, looking toward the saloon. In that second of distraction, Jonah moved. He drew his sidearm and fired. Not at the men, but at the heavy water barrel on the balcony above De Vargas's head. The barrel exploded. A deluge of water and splinters crashing down. De Vargas roared in shock. Jonah grabbed Elena, pulling her up. "Get your father. Go to the stable. Now." The plaza erupted in gunfire. Jonah shoved Mateo and Elena toward the alley as soldiers opened fire. He dropped back behind an adobe pillar, his repeater barking. He wasn't trying to kill them, just to pin them down. If you're caught in this border town firefight, be sure to subscribe to Will West Stories. We share tales where one man's last stand can mean the world's freedom. "He's in the alley," one soldier yelled. Jonah was already gone. He scrambled over a wall, landing in the narrow passage behind the stable. Mateo and Elena were there, terrified. "They'll find us. They'll kill us," Mateo panted. Jonah grabbed him. "Listen to me. There is no use. I'm not going with you." He pulled a piece of charcoal from his pocket and grabbed a scrap of poster from the wall. He sketched a fast, crude map. "The canyon north of here. Follow the dry riverbed. Look for the 3 red rocks. Behind them, a pass. It's narrow. It's hidden. It will take you north to the Arizona territory. Go, and do not look back." He shoved the map into Mateo's hand. This was it. His only secret. His only escape. He was giving it away. He was trapping himself in this town, with Vargas and sooner or later the bounty hunters who were chasing him. "But you?" Elena asked, her eyes wide. "I have to buy you time," Jonah said. He checked his repeater. He had maybe 20 rounds left. "Get going. Live. That's the payment." He watched them disappear into the stable's back door. He let out one final breath. He was no longer a ghost. He was a target. He stepped back into the main street, on the other side of the town. He fired 2 shots at the bell in the old mission tower. The loud, clanging gong echoed through the town, a clear challenge. "I'm over here, Capitan," Jonah roared. "Come and get me." Vargas, his face a mask of fury, took the bait. "He's at the church. All of you, I want him alive." The battle for Tres Cruces began. A re-hook. Jonah had given away his escape. Now trapped and alone, he had to hold off 6 soldiers with only 20 bullets, buying time for a family he barely knew, and waiting for the other hunters to inevitably find him. Jonah Cole was a good hunter, which meant he was even better prey. He didn't make a stand. He moved. He led Vargas and his men on a deadly chase through the alleys and rooftops of Tres Cruces. He used his 20 bullets with terrifying precision. He wasn't aiming to kill, he was aiming to delay. A shot to a man's leg, a shot to a horse, a shot that kicked up dust and forced them to take cover. He was buying minutes. Every minute was another 100 yards for Mateo and Elena. He ended up on the left side of the plaza, pinned down behind the thick wooden pillars of the saloon porch. Vargas and his 4 remaining men were on the right side, using the fountain and market stalls for cover. It was a stalemate. "You are a dead man, gringo," Vargas yelled, firing a shot that splintered the wood near Jonah's head. "You have nowhere to go. You sacrificed yourself for nothing, for no one. Just shutting you up is worth the price, Capitan," Jonah yelled back. He was down to his last 5 bullets. His shoulder was burning, a piece of shrapnel from a ricochet had grazed him. He was trapped. This was the end. He heard it before he saw it. The sound of more horses. Not from the plaza, from the road. "Capitan!" one of his soldiers yelled. "Riders! Many!" Vargas looked confused. He thought it was reinforcements. It wasn't. It was them. The men Jonah had been running from. 3 bounty hunters, led by a man named Jedediah Stone. Stone saw Jonah pinned behind the pillar. He saw the Federales. He didn't care about the fight. He just saw his bounty. "Jonah Cole," Stone's voice boomed. "You owe me, boy." The bounty hunters opened fire. The plaza dissolved into a 3-way war. The Federales were now fighting the bounty hunters. The bounty hunters were fighting Jonah, and Jonah was just trying to survive. He saw his opening. In the chaos, as Vargas turned to fire at Stone, Jonah broke cover. He ran. Not for a horse, but for the one place no one would look. The stable he'd sent the family to. He dove through the hayloft window, just as a bullet sang past his ear. He buried himself in the hay, bleeding, exhausted, his guns empty. He listened as the battle raged outside. Shouts, gunfire, Curses, in Spanish and English. It lasted for 10 agonizing minutes. Then silence. He waited for an hour. Then another. When dusk fell, he crawled out. The plaza was a mess. Bodies of 2 federales and 1 bounty hunter. The rest were gone. De Vargas was gone. Stone was gone. They had either killed each other or, more likely, retreated to fight another day. Jonah was alone. He was wounded. He was broke, and he was trapped. His one escape route was gone. He limped to the cantina, broke in, and found a bottle of whiskey and some rags. As he patched his shoulder, he had to laugh. He'd spent a year running, hiding, planning his grand escape, and he'd thrown it all away in 10 minutes for a farmer and his kid. He was the worst bounty hunter and the worst fugitive in the territory. He spent 3 months in Tres Cruces, healing, working as a stable hand, always watching the horizon. De Vargas never came back. Stone never came back. It was as if the town itself had swallowed that day. He was stacking hay one afternoon when a young boy, a local runner, handed him a small package. There was no note. Inside, wrapped in cloth, was a small, crudely carved wooden bird. He knew it was from Elena. He held the small bird, its wings spread wide. They'd made it. They were free. Jonah Cole looked at the canyon pass on the horizon, the secret he could never use. He was still trapped. He was still a wanted man. But holding that small bird, he felt something he hadn't felt in a decade. He wasn't running anymore. He was free too.